The sun had just begun to stretch its fingers over the Manhattan skyline, casting soft golden light through the penthouse windows of billionaire Elias Montgomery. A man known for two things, his ruthless business mind and his incurable illness. No doctor, no medicine, no amount of wealth had ever been able to ease the relentless pain that haunted his bones and kept him locked to a wheelchair. Elias sat silently, dressed in a custom black suit, his silver cufflinks untouched, a man. Once towering, now reduced to stillness. His world was cold marble floors, stainless steel kitchens, and a staff that feared even breathing too loudly in his presence. But today was different. His personal assistant, Carla, entered the room with hesitation, her hands clasped tightly around a beige folder. "Sir, there's someone waiting downstairs. She says she doesn't need money. She says she's here to help you, not heal you, help." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Not a doctor?" "No, sir, she's just a girl." "A girl?" he scoffed. "How old?" "Maybe 19, Black said her name's Amina." Elias waved his hand dismissively. "Tell security to remove her. I'm not in the mood for TikTok prophets and sidewalk witches." Carla hesitated. "She said something else, sir." "What?" she said. "I know the shadow behind your ribs." "And I know the name it whispers at night." Elias froze. A chill ran up his spine. No one, not even Carla, knew that in his sleep, when the pain peaked, he muttered a name. A name not spoken aloud since he was 7 years old. "Lazaril," he narrowed his eyes. "Bring her up." Moments later, the elevator doors opened, and a girl stepped out, barefoot. Her skin shimmered like polished earth in her eyes. Her eyes carried a storm. She wore a long, pale robe with nothing but a wooden beaded bracelet on her wrist. Amina didn't speak. She didn't smile. She walked past Carla and approached Elias without asking permission, her gaze cutting through. "The air like it belonged there. I'm not here to ask for your soul," she said gently. "But I will need your silence." Elias stared, the corner of his mouth twitching. "You have a flair for drama." "I'm not the drama. Your illness is. You think you can heal me?" "No," she said, tilting her head. "But I can." "Ask your body why it refuses to heal itself." Elias chuckled bitterly. "You're insane." "Perhaps. But pain doesn't respond to logic. Neither should you." There was something about her. A tension in the air, like she had brought something ancient into the room with her. Her energy wasn't theatrical. It was elemental. It hummed through the floorboards. Amina knelt beside him. "You've forgotten how to be touched." He flinched as she gently placed her fingers on his hand. Her touch wasn't warm or cold. It was something else entirely, like she had bypassed skin and nerves and touched memory instead. Suddenly, Elias's eyes widened. His heart pounded. Visions. Not of the present, but of the past, flooded in. A swing. A sister. A fall. Screams. The name Lazaril echoing in the dark. And then silence. He gasped, yanking his hand back. "What? What did you do?" "I didn't do anything. Your body remembered." Amina stood and walked away. "Tomorrow," she said, pausing at the door, "you'll either want to kill me or kiss my feet, but tonight sleep will come. And when it does, the truth will begin to whisper again." Elias stared at her, breathless. He didn't stop her from leaving that night for the first time in 19 years. Elias Montgomery slept without painkillers. The room was silent, heavy with the weight of wealth, suffering, and something unseen, tall. Glass windows revealed a skyline lit by the dying light of sunset. Inside, the air conditioning hummed softly, but the tension between the two figures in the room made the air feel warmer than it was. The millionaire. Jonathan Hayes sat back. In his wheelchair, arms folded, eyes narrowed. He had the look of a man who had seen the world bow before him. Yet now he seemed unsure. A flicker of discomfort broke through his arrogant mask as he glanced at the young girl standing timidly just a few feet away. Her name was Amara. A small, black girl with natural curls tied in soft puffs, wearing a simple dress and worn-out sneakers that spoke of a life of struggle. She looked no more than 8 years old. But her eyes, wide, silent, deep brown, held something far older. A sadness, a weight, and a kind of still wisdom that unnerved even the wealthiest man in America Asterisk Jonathan leaned forward. You're the girl? He asked, as if trying to confirm this wasn't some elaborate joke. Asterisk Amara didn't nod. She didn't speak. She just looked at him. Asterisk. Her silence made Jonathan fidget in his seat. He was used to people talking, begging, selling themselves for his attention, but this girl didn't beg, didn't flinch, didn't even seem afraid. Her stillness was unnerving. Asterisk. Do you even understand what I'm offering? He pressed, his voice sharper now, the discomfort turning into defense. I said I'd give you $1 million. If you can heal me. Still no answer. The caretaker, standing near the doorway, cleared her throat awkwardly, whispering, She's different, doesn't speak much, but people say she just knows. Asterisk Jonathan scoffed. Knows what? Asterisk. Before anyone could respond, Amara took a slow, careful step forward. Jonathan froze. She raised her hand, small, delicate, shaking slightly, and reached out toward his chest. Not in fear, not in hesitation, but like someone feeling for something invisible. Her fingers hovered just over his heart. Asterisk. He should have pushed her hand away. Should have called security. But something in her eyes, something ancient and pure, kept him frozen. It was like being looked at by the past, the pain, and the cure all at once. And then she touched him, a simple touch. But it felt like time slowed. The room grew still, the distant city sounds vanished. And all that existed was the space between her hand and his soul. Asterisk. Suddenly, without a word, without a warning, Jonathan gasped. His chest tightened, not with pain, but something else. A warmth? A light? A rush of feeling he hadn't known in decades. Asterisk. Memories flooded him, his mother's lullaby when he was sick. The first time he laughed with his baby sister. His father? Holding his hand before school. Then a darker wave, the pain of losing them. The years of chasing success to fill the void, the women, the yachts, the noise, the emptiness, and then silence again. Amara pulled her hand away and stepped back, her expression unchanged. But her breathing was heavier, as if she'd just run a marathon. Jonathan sat back, stunned. His caretaker rushed forward. Are you all right, sir? He didn't respond. He looked at the girl again, this time with something new in his eyes. Fear. Asterisk. What was that? He whispered, but Amara didn't answer. She simply turned away, like her part was done, and walked quietly back to the corner of the room, where a single chair had been placed for her. Asterisk. Jonathan, shaking slightly, looked down at his hands. He could feel his fingers. He could move his fingers. For the first time in 2 years, tears welled up in his eyes, but he wiped them away quickly, as if embarrassed to feel anything in front of someone like her. Asterisk. He looked up. Who are you? He asked. Amara simply stared, and then, for the first time since she entered, she spoke, just one word, broken, and he dreamed. A strange stillness enveloped the grand library room of the manor, the golden daylight filtering through the tall windows, now slowly shifting into the soft amber hue of dusk. James Lockhart, the billionaire who had built empires and shattered. Market sat quietly in his wheelchair, hands folded over his lap, the shadow of a smirk now replaced with a heavy silence. Across from him stood Amara, the young black girl who, moments ago, had dared to ask the most terrifying question he had heard in years. Why are you really in pain? Asterisk. James's eyes lingered on her. There was no sign of mockery on her face, no trace of pity, just an openness that unnerved him more than any investor meeting ever had. Her small fingers still shimmered faintly from the last touch she had placed on his arm just for a moment, but in that moment something had flickered. Something neither of them understood. Asterisk. You didn't even flinch, James muttered, voice dry. Asterisk. I wasn't supposed to, Amara replied gently, taking a few steps forward until she stood beside him. Your pain. It's not where the doctors are looking. Asterisk. James raised an eyebrow, his curiosity breaking through his usual cynicism. Go on. Asterisk. Amara kneeled beside his wheelchair, placing both of her hands on his knee, over the silk blanket that covered his legs. It's not your legs, it's something inside your chest. Something broken a long time ago. You can't walk not because your legs forgot how, but because your heart did. Asterisk, a short breath escaped James's lips. For a man whose wealth could buy entire countries, this moment was utterly foreign. He had spent millions on specialists, surgeries, therapists, and secret shamans flown in from South America. But never had anyone spoken to him like this, with such quiet certainty and almost supernatural understanding. Asterisk, you think you can heal me with words? James whispered, staring down at her tiny hands. Are you some kind of witch? Asterisk Amara giggled. No, silly, I'm just someone who listens. And sometimes, when I listen, people get better. Just then, something strange happened. James felt a warmth radiate from where her hands rested on his leg. Not heat, exactly. More like a gentle buzzing, like music with no sound. His body had been numb for years, but this was not numbness. This was feeling. Asterisk, his eyes widened. What are you doing? He asked sharply, though he didn't move. Asterisk. I'm helping you, remember, Amara said simply. Not your muscles. Your spirit. Flashbacks hit him like a thunderclap. He saw himself as a boy 10 years old screaming in the middle of the street while his mother was taken away in an ambulance. Her eyes closed, her hands stretched toward him. Then darkness. Asterisk, his father, cold and rigid, forcing him into boarding school the next day. Asterisk, his first million empty, his first mansion lonely, all that success, all that money. It had paved over his grief, not healed it. His real injury wasn't physical. It was emotional. He had buried his mother's death so deep inside that it had spread like a virus through his soul, paralyzing him not just in body, but in life. Asterisk, Amara's hands began to glow slightly, a subtle pulse of golden light. James blinked in disbelief. Asterisk, you're not normal, he whispered. What? What are you? Asterisk, she looked up at him, her large eyes filled with something ancient. I'm the part of the world you've forgotten. I'm not here to take your money. I'm here to help you take back yourself. A moment later, James gasped. His toes twitched under the blanket. His voice shook. I felt that. I know, Amara said, smiling softly. In the silence that followed, a tear rolled down James's cheek. The first in decades. Asterisk, for the first time in years, the pain had a voice. And that voice didn't scream, it whispered through the hands of a girl society would have never noticed. A girl who had nothing, and yet gave him everything. Asterisk, outside, the wind stirred the trees as the evening light deepened. And inside, the impossible had just begun. Asterisk, the old chapel sat quiet and untouched, its stained glass windows casting sacred hues of violet and gold across the empty pews. Outside, New York's cold evening brushed against the stone walls. But inside, the millionaire and the little black girl Zara sat side by side at the altar steps. It was the first time in years someone had walked him into a holy space, not for a headline or healing seminar, but for silence. Asterisk, do you believe in God? She asked suddenly, her voice breaking the quiet like the ringing of a gentle bell. Asterisk, the man, whose name the world chanted with awe. Vincent Dalton leaned back against the wooden beam behind him and let the question breathe. I used to. When I thought, he answered, only those who owned skyscrapers and stocks. Asterisk, Zara didn't respond immediately. She simply looked at him, eyes heavy with wisdom no 10-year-old should carry. She reached into her coat and pulled out something, a small stone, smooth and dark, its surface engraved with an angel's wing. Asterisk, my grandma gave me this, she said. She said when the world forgets your name, angels still whisper it. You just have to stay still long enough to hear. He looked at the stone as if it were magic. Zara stood slowly, walked up to him, and without asking, placed the stone against his chest, right over his heart. Close your eyes, she whispered. Forget your Vincent Dalton, forget your billions, just be the boy you were before they made you wear a suit to survive. Asterisk, he chuckled, half amused, half haunted. I don't remember that boy. Asterisk, you will, she said. Asterisk, she took both his hands. Her touch wasn't grand, it was barely a breeze, but something about her presence small, fragile, Warm felt like a thunderstorm was calming inside him. Asterisk as he closed his eyes, his breathing slowed. And in that chapel, where forgotten saints looked down from the windows, Vincent saw something, his childhood home in Detroit, a paper plane in his hand, his mother laughing from the window. He saw a tiny version of himself spinning in circles. Under the summer sky, before cancer, before corporate takeovers, before hollow applause, and suddenly tears began to pour down his face. Zara didn't say a word. She just sat beside him, humming the lullaby her grandma used to hum when the lights went out during winter blackouts. Her voice trembled in places, but the melody stitched itself into his memories like a missing puzzle piece sliding into place. Asterisk when he finally opened his eyes, he whispered, "What are you?" Asterisk Zara looked down. "A girl who still believes broken people deserve softness." Asterisk they didn't leave the church for 2 hours. In that time, no deal was made, no cameras flashed. But something deeper than a transaction occurred. Asterisk he turned to her and asked the question he hadn't asked anyone in 20 years. "Can I come back here tomorrow?" Asterisk she smiled. "I don't own this place, but I'll be here." Asterisk he nodded, then surprised her. "Zara, I'm ready. You said you'd heal me. I want that, not just the body. The part of me I didn't know was dying." Asterisk Zara took his hand again. "Then we start tomorrow, but not with doctors." Asterisk with what then? He asked. Asterisk she looked toward the old piano in the corner. "With stories, with the truth, with everything money forgot to buy you." Asterisk as they walked out into the frozen night, Vincent carried no briefcase, no bodyguards, no $1,000,000 smile. Just the stone in his coat pocket and a promise echoing in his chest. Asterisk. Healing isn't something you buy, it's something you're brave enough to receive. The entire mansion fell silent as Trinity's fingers hovered just inches above Denzel's heart. For a moment, it felt like time itself had paused. The maids, the butler, and even the doctor who had stayed behind out of concern held their breath. Asterisk Denzel looked up at her, his eyes wide and glimmering, caught between skepticism and hope. "You really believe you can heal me?" he whispered. Asterisk. "I don't heal," Trinity said softly, her voice trembling but steady. "But I believe something. Inside you is just waiting to come alive again. You just need someone who sees you, not your money, not your fame. Just, you." Asterisk she gently placed her small hand over his chest, right above where his heart had long felt broken, both physically and emotionally. And in that second, something extraordinary happened. Asterisk a powerful sensation surged through Denzel's body, warmth. Light, as if a gentle current of life had been waiting for this exact moment to reawaken. His fingers twitched, a deep, sharp breath filled his lungs. His legs, lifeless for years, burned with an energy he hadn't known since before the accident. Asterisk the room gasped in collective awe. Denzel's hands clutched the arms of his wheelchair, shaking as if defying gravity. Slowly, ever so slowly, he pushed himself up, not with machines, not with anyone's help, but with something far greater, will and belief. Asterisk Trinity stumbled back in disbelief as he stood, legs trembling beneath him, tears falling down his cheeks. The moment was too big for words, too sacred for disbelief. Asterisk I'm standing, he cried out, his voice cracking, full of joy and pain and release. "I haven't stood in 5 years. Asterisk he turned to Trinity, who was already sobbing quietly. "You didn't heal me with your hands?" he said, walking toward her, one unsteady step at a time. "You healed me with your truth, with your heart, with your love." Asterisk the doctor rushed forward, checking his pulse, trying to make sense of the impossible. This isn't medically explainable," he stammered. "It's miraculous." Asterisk Denzel knelt in front of Trinity, who stared in disbelief. He took her hand and placed something cold and heavy in it, the check for $1,000,000. Asterisk. "I said I'd give you $1,000,000 if you healed me," he said. "But I didn't know you'd give me something far more valuable." Asterisk Trinity shook her head, placing the check on the table. "I didn't come here for money. I came because I believe broken people don't stay broken forever." Asterisk just then, a soft knock interrupted the moment. It was one of the neighborhood girls Trinity had tutored in her free time. "Miss Trinity," she said, wide-eyed, "everyone's talking about you. They said you healed the millionaire man." Denzel chuckled, standing tall beside Trinity. "Now, no," he said, smiling with a clarity that had long escaped him. "She reminded me how to heal myself." News of the miracle spread quickly, capturing media attention. But the real story wasn't about a man who stood again. It was about a young woman who believed in the impossible and helped someone else believe too. Epilogue, months later. Denzel and Trinity opened a healing foundation together, the Trinity Trust, which funded programs for underprivileged communities, especially young girls with dreams bigger than their circumstances. And every time someone asked Denzel how he found the strength to walk again, he would simply say, "I was touched. Not by hands, but by the truth of someone who didn't care about what I had, but who I was." That's the kind of healing we all need.